Hello, my crafty friends. It's Terry with Terry's Mailbox, and I'm here today presenting Altenew's January stamp die and stencil release. Again, this is part of a hop going on. I'm using these folk flowers. This is a stencil, die, and detailed stamp set that I just thought was gorgeous. So I'm starting by ink blending the leaf layer, and I'm using grass fields. On some of the cards I went back and kind of highlighted with just green. But again, I'm just filling in and ink blending all of these pieces. And again, this is a 6x6 stamp, so I'm using half of a sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. So I'll have some, extra cuts here. So here's the second layer. So I'm going to do this in hydrangea ink. I love the dark purples and followed up with teal. So just really loving the cool colors. You'll see actually 3 of my cards for this this hop are cool colors because I'm a cool colors girl, and there is one warm color in here. So again, I'm filling in the background here. And so this was kind of how I started. I did a couple different backgrounds. So just finishing up here. And then we'll go ahead and pull that off. Look at how cool those stencils line up. I was just amazed. So here's the one I'm doing in turquoise. So again, just ink blending right along. It just goes together so easily. And then I had fun creating 4 different cards actually. So there is the panel colored. So I'm going to start off and I'm going to take that 6x6 stencil and I'm going to create a slimline card. So what I did was kind of work with the stencil there, and there is one whole leaf branch on there. So I kind of put that in the middle. And then we'll ink blend that one again. And you can see here that I'm masking off some of the extra pieces. I was afraid that I would color in places that I didn't really want color. So again, working to add the green color. It's just such a pretty green. So you'll see next that I'm going to pull up the stencil, and then I'm going to try to figure out how I can arrange it to cover the top without covering over, again, some of the additional flowers. So I'm going to focus on that right hand leaf stem there. So I really like the way this one turned out. Now I'm moving my tape to the upper right corner so I don't make a mess. I'm good at making messes. And then I'm going to move it over. And you'll see there I had to grab my little sand eraser because I accidentally got some green there on the right side. So here I am kind of trying to figure out, okay, how can I fill this in without covering over any of the other flowers. So I kind of found a space here, and you'll see that I'm going to cover up that bottom leaf because that would overlap. So again, I'm going to try to just cover up here so that I'm only focused on that one area. I've kind of gotten into slimline cards. How about you guys? So again, trying to get all my masking tape here in the correct position and ink blending again. And so here is the final card with all 3 colors on it. I left this in because I wanted to show you. I didn't realize that the stencils were labeled for which side should be up and which side should be down. So what I discovered is that I did these singular branches upside down. So I had to go back and redo them. But I'll show you where they're marked. Again, that just was an oversight on my part, but I wanted to share it. So there is some embossed images there, and I'll hold up this pink cardstock so you can see it a little bit better. There it is. But again, you got to have them in the right direction. So here's one card that I made using the single die cut images. So I took a piece of turquoise cardstock and I ran it through using the dotted tile embossing cover die, which is a new one this month. It's really very pretty. So again, I'm popping it up on foam, bun foam, and then I'm going to go ahead and attach it to the front of the card. This is just an A2 Cougar card base. So I'll go ahead and get that on there, and then I'll throw an acrylic block on just to hold it for a little bit. So next I'm going to work on the hugs, and this came from the Hello and Hugs die set, which is one of my absolute favorites. There is a stamp set that goes with it, but I use these cutouts all the time. Again, they've got both the sentiment and they've got a shadow, and then the stamps that you can order. So just a really great set. So here I'm adding glue onto the back of my cutouts, and you can see this is from where I made the error and did them upside down. So every piece of cardstock has two sides. I just flipped it over and did the back side. So again, I'm going to center these at the bottom and at the top, kind of at an angle, making sure they're covered. And I like the way they hang off of the popped up turquoise piece. So again, making sure those are on there. Next thing I'm going to do is put that Hugs sentiment on there. And there we go. And we'll put that block back to let it dry. So here's the next card I made. And again, that's using that single stem on the center of a cutout piece. And you'll see there that I'm going to attach it or back it with purple cardstock. And I don't know whether you noticed it or not, but I cut the sentiments out of, the charming sentiment out of the middle of that purple piece because I knew nobody would see it. So again, I'm just gluing the word charming on here. And you can see here that I've used the detailed die or detailed stamp on this one to add the lines and things. It goes on so easily using a little acrylic block and just stamp away. So I'm going back to that initial background that I made. And I'm going to go ahead and get my trimmer out here, and I'm going to cut it down to 4.25 by, or 4.25 by 5.5, excuse me. So I'll go ahead and cut that down. And then that gets attached to an A2 card base. And then all I'm going to do is go ahead and attach the purple piece. So I'm just attaching that there in the center. And then I decided I needed a little bit of pulled out of my Altenew. Had a few purple from another set. Okay, here's that slimline card. So what I did was I covered the base in green cardstock, and then I trimmed to that base, the slimline base. You can see I rounded the corners there using a rounded rectangle die, actually. And then I put the Celebrate on there. And then I decided it needed something else, so I cut 2 1/4-inch black cardstock strips, and I'm going to put the Celebrate kind of at an angle in the center. It's the Altenew's fancy Celebrate die. And then I'm just going to glue the sentiments, or the cardstock strips. So you'll see kind of how I get those organized. Just kind of sopping up the extra glue here. And so again, I need to trim those black strips off there, and then my card is ready to go. So there's that card. And then the last card is this one. This is my warm colors card. I told you I don't do a whole lot with warm colors, but here decided to do this bright one. So again, did another background with the warm colors, mounted it on a piece of pink cardstock and then on a white card base. And then this is one of the 3D embossing folders that I used on vellum to give it some dimension. I thought that was kind of cool. So again, needed something to kind of pop up that additional single branch. So I decided I was going to pop it up here. So again, I've got my foam tape out, and I'm just adding foam tape to the back of it. I know this video is a little bit long for me, but I had both the techniques to show you and the assembling the card. So it was kind of a mixed bag here. So again, making sure that I don't have any of the foam tape sticking out, and then I'll go ahead and just pull off the backing and attach that towards the center. I like the way this one turned out. And so the last thing I wanted to do was add this sentiment, sending birthday hugs. And I decided to pop it up. So again, there's my sending birthday hugs. So here are all 4 of the cards. So I hope you've enjoyed my video today, and check out the release. It's really a good one. So again, it's Terry with Terry's Mailbox. I'm on Instagram, Blogger, Facebook, and YouTube. Come follow me.